Welcome to the third day of Hearth and Harvest, a virtual experience designed to bring us together this season with friends and family, both near and far. I'm Rachel, director and founder of the Museum of Food and Culture.
And I'm Lindsay from the Denver Museum of Nature and Science.
Today, we join Dan Fay of Faymous Eats in the kitchen to make apple charlotte cake. Learn about the historical and cultural significance of this dish while cooking. Use the linked recipe to make along with us.
These recipes are super easy and you can follow along live with him on this video. So fire up your stove. We're about to get cooking.
Welcome to another episode of Faymous Eats. Today we're going to be making a cake. This cake is called Charlotka z yablokami, which literally translates in Russian to Charlotte with apples. It is a cake slash bread pudding, kind of. It's a very interesting cake. It's super simple to make. It is absolutely delicious. You must try this recipe. So what I've done is I've changed it up a little bit. I actually layer the apples, so it's like batter, apples, all the way up until you're out of batter and or apples. Super simple recipe. So this recipe actually originated during the Soviet Union. No one really knows where or who or how this recipe kind of came about, but really what happened was that these Soviet citizens, and primarily women at the time who were cooking in the house, were looking for a way to make something sweet and decadent that they could gift to their friends or family or people that were, coming and visiting or during holidays. So during the Soviet hardships, there was lots of famine, lots of food scarcity. There wasn't a lot of produce to be found. Apples were super plentiful, and by mixing apples, flowers, and eggs, they would be able to make one of these, and it was an absolute treat. So let's go ahead and jump into the recipe. Before starting, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. To start, I'm going to use 3 apples. These are just medium-sized Honeycrisps. You could use Granny Smith or your favorite apple. Go ahead and peel these and then kind of cut them either in quarters or in thirds. We're then going to use a mandolin to slice these super thin. Of course, you could use a knife. To keep the apples from browning, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of lime or lemon juice on these and then toss these in the bowl. This helps the apples from browning as we're going to be making the batter. To make the batter, add 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. For the rest of the dry goods, it's a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. In order to sweeten the cake, we're going to use 3/4 cups of sugar. Next, whisk the dry ingredients until it's well mixed, or it's all kind of one homogeneous mixture there. Then add 5 whole eggs. Once it's mixed just a little bit, go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of oil. I'm just using olive oil here. You could use vegetable oil. It all roughly works the same in this recipe. Continue mixing this for 3 minutes or until the consistency is you see. In a 9-inch springform pan, go ahead and grease the pan with butter or margarine of your choice there. And then we're going to pour in a very thin layer of the batter. We're going to spread this with a spatula, just making sure that the bottom is well covered, that we kind of seal this here, and then we're going to begin the layering process. Now there's no science to layering the apples, just layer as many apples as you want per layer here. I'm just doing a singular layer, and then we're going to pour batter, layer apples, pour batter, etc. And repeat this until you are completely either out of apples or out of batter. Once you're out of batter, just simply do a rough spread, give it a little bit of a shake, and then bake for 30 to 45 minutes depending on the elevation. Once it's out of the oven, go ahead and poke with a skewer or toothpick, just making sure that the center is cooked and that no cake mixture is stuck to the toothpick. After cooling for about 10 minutes, it should be warm to the touch. Go ahead and remove the springform pan, and you can transition this to either a serving dish or leave it on the pan itself like I did. For that extra special touch or that rustic look, I literally just cut out a couple pieces of paper in a stencil that I drew. This kind of looks like a snowflake, almost like a leaf or flower pattern. Sprinkle some powdered sugar over top and then quickly and gently remove the template, and you'll be left with this rustic looking pattern. And now for the best bit, simply cut and serve. You should see lamination. So once you pull this out, you'll see that layer of batter, layer of apples, layer of batter all the way up through the top. It's super moist in the middle, and that crust on the side makes for a really good crunch. I highly recommend serving this with ice cream, and enjoy. I've just made the Charlotte cake. My house literally smells like a baked apple. It is fantastic. I literally ran to the store because I forgot powdered sugar, came back and was punched in the face with amazing apple cinnamon baked goodness. As you can see, there's lots of kind of like lamination, so there's layers with the apple and the batter. It's very soft. The outside is super crunchy, so you'll actually feel the outside. It's not like a normal cake where it might be slightly browned and still pillowy. This cake actually browns and firms up on the outside, so it's almost like a crust. So you could add just powdered sugar on top, or I like adding whipped cream or whatever your whipped topping is and serving with ice cream. This dish is just an amazing, amazing boat of flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a taste. This cake, again, the recipe is super simple. Highly recommend it. It's literally batter in a bowl, like almost like making pancakes. You don't have to make like a meringue. You don't have to separate the eggs. You don't have, granted, make sure you at least like measure, because baking in itself is its own like meticulous science. This recipe is fairly forgiving. And I mean, it didn't take that long. It's only in the oven for 45 minutes. And I tell you what, like if I had ice cream, I would. It's so good. Thanks again for watching another episode of Famous Eats. If you like what you see, feel free to comment or give the video a like. And to help me out, build the channel out, and gain subscribers and awareness, please feel free to subscribe or follow me at Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, or Instagram at Famous Eats. Thanks again, and stay safe.
And now I'm ready to eat. Huge thank you to Dan for sharing his love of food and cooking with us. We're excited to see you tomorrow for a guided story sharing activity. Join my family as we chat about apples and then lead your own discussion at the table this holiday season. Reminder, if you enjoyed today's programming, please consider making a gift to support both of our museums. We'll see you tomorrow.